Hey everybody, this is Fred Richani of the Sports Courier Podcast. On this week's episode, we continue our interview with former WWE and WCW superstar Ernest the Cat Miller, also a former karate champion. We talk about his time in WCW working with the legend James Brown, as well as why his WWE run wasn't up to snuff. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this candid conversation.
As a commissioner, and even before as a commissioner, you kept calling yourself the greatest. And for years, everybody was like, man, it'd be kind of cool if James Brown got involved one day and interrupted you, and you guys did some kind of money angle or something, because WCW is very big on angles with celebrities, whether it be like Jay Leno or Karl Malone or Dennis Rodman. So then in typical WCW fashion, I remember in a non-advertised appearance, out of the blue, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was on a pay-per-view or something, James Brown just randomly interrupted you.
Man, you know what? The crowd if they had pushed that thing, and promoted it the way they should have promoted it, because, I think at that time, Vince Russo and the guys then, they didn't have that vision. I had a vision, and the vision was, this is something right here where we can touch all walks of life, all different people. And we got fans who are crossed over, but they really wasn't trying to cross over. I guess they looked at it and said, you know what? WCW got such a redneck fan base. They are never, white redneck fan base, they are never like the gimmick of James Brown coming in. That's why they didn't push it, I think. But...
That's crazy, though. That's crazy. James Brown's a legend. Who doesn't love James Brown?
Man, but they just, they had their heads up their asses, and that's what they were thinking. They just thought, hey, I don't think they'll get with this, but let's try it on the pay-per-view. I said, okay, this is how I'll do it. I'll go out, and I'll be late to all my matches, and I'll tell them I've been practicing for this big thing happening in San Francisco. I forgot what pay-per-view it was, Stampede, I think, and, I've been practicing on with my new partner, James Brown, He gonna meet me next week on the show. He don't show up. Then I had an imposter to come out there. They act like he was James Brown. They called up to him, pulled his wig off, and it wasn't James Brown. But the crowd was getting into it a little bit. I could sense that the crowd was getting into me lying, and they was, he a liar. So when we finally got him to show up at the pay-per-view, you should have seen the crowd. Not only was the crowd motivated and loud and pop loud, because I was telling the truth the whole time, they got to see James Brown. And then when he got in the ring and we had the little dance off, and now they see the original, where my dance came from and why I would do some of the stuff I was doing, man, that crowd was going crazy in San Francisco. Just crazy. Matter of fact, he brought 2 cakes. I said, can you bring me a cake? He said, yes. He said, what color do you want? I said, I don't know. Just bring one, a red one, match my shoes. So he brought the red cake. So when he came, he said, listen, I bought 2 cakes. I brought a red one and a gold one just in case you want to use those. So he said, okay, I'll put it on you, then you just snatch it all like we always do. So anyway, he gave me those 2 cakes. He autographed them. He gave them to me. And, we went through the pay-per-view. After the pay-per-view, I remember the first person I ran into in the hall once I came through the curtain was Sting. And Sting said, Cat, you over. He said, that's been the best part of the pay-per-view right there. He said, that's what people want to be. They want to be entertained. He said, and Sting was like one of the ones who was always straight. Anybody tell you, Sting was like the nicest, man, he's the nicest guy you ever wanted to meet, man. And his advice would really go a long ways because it come from his heart. So, it wasn't like it came from Scott Norton, who probably would say something just to say it, dirty, low-down, coward he is. All right, I'm sorry, I got lost there for a second with Scott Norton. I got a little heat with Scott Norton.
All good.
But Sting said that was the best part of the pay-per-view. I said, thank you, man. He just said it was entertaining. And it was, and I felt good about it, man. And felt so good about it. I even felt better about it 3 years later, well, about five, 6 years later, when James Brown passed away, and the guy called who was auctioned off all of his stuff from his house to raise money. And this guy right here said that the capes were worth $100,000 a piece because they were made by his original cape maker out of Ohio.
Wow. That's nuts. I mean, that's an incredible experience, and you were with WCW to the end. I mean, you were there during the hottest period. You were there during the down period. You were. I think you can definitely make an argument. You were definitely one of the bright spots during that time when things were kind of going down, especially with the James Brown deal and the commissioner and feuding with the Natural Born Thrillers. And fast forward a couple years later, you end up in Vince McMahon's WWE a couple years after the invasion, but you start out as a commentator alongside Josh Mathews, as opposed to being a pro wrestler or a manager or any kind of personality, commentating on Velocity. How'd that come about?
You know what, man? Excuse me. I had made so much money, working and stuff like that. I really didn't have to go back to wrestling. But, John Ace called me and said, hey, why don't you come up here? We're going to take a look at you. And I came in and did a dark match, and they said, okay, we want to bring you in. We're going to do this, and do that. But you know what, man? Going up there was so totally different from what I was used to, and I knew nothing about the business. In WCW, we had friends and family. It was like people would advise you and give you advice and tell, like, Disco Inferno, Ernest, you should do this. Tara Taylor, Ernest Cat, you should do this. We created it was almost like you knew who to go to help you kind of get better, advance in what you're doing. But when you got to WWE, man, it was so quiet. It was like being at a totally new private school and you don't know anything about it. You don't know enough about the business. So when they brought me in and they said we were going to make you this announcer and stuff like that, but we want you doing a whole bunch of other stuff because you can, I said to myself, I was like, okay, that's great. That's great. I love to do that. But then once I got there, man, I started seeing how they were bringing these WCW guys in and they were dropping them by the wayside. I said, these guys really don't want to do anything with these WCW guys. They don't want to do anything with us. They just want to have us on their contract so they can use our image and our likeness, and what they were doing. So that's all that was. That was a period in my time to where I was just happy to say, hey, I was in WCW, worked in WCW, and I worked in WWE, the two biggest wrestling companies will ever be.
And can you talk a little bit about that time period? Because you talked about before the Monday Night Wars. I mean, that's a cutthroat time. You were sharing a locker room with guys like Benoit and Guerrero and Hogan and Savage and just the biggest stars of the 80s, the biggest stars of the 90s, all, coming together and maybe what was the most stacked roster in wrestling history. I don't think we may ever see that replicated. You go to WWE in the early mid-2000s, and they had a ridiculously talented roster as well, but it was kind of a down period in the business post-WCW, and that was during a time, too, and you talked about how WCW guys were kind of dropping like flies from WWE. If you look back during that time, and I'm sure you recall, like, they were putting out new talent like almost every week, and they'd disappear. You'd have the Heartthrobs 1 week. They'd disappear. You had a brief run in the ring. Bam, all of a sudden, Cat's off TV. This person's on.
No, I'm on. Hold on. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to go on air and I'm going to tell you a situation that kind of broke me. It kind of broke me. And when I said broke me, I've never been the kind of person that didn't have the self-confidence or didn't have the motivation to be the best or ever thought I was the best. But this incident broke me. When I came into the ring one night, we were working a dark match, a house show. And this is when they first brought me. I was wrestling. So they said, okay, I forgot who we were wrestling against, but they said, okay, Cat, you go out, you do your show, you do your match, and at the end, these guys going to get some heat on you, and then this new guy going to slide in, and you and him finish back to back. Y'all clear the ring back to back. So I went in, I had the match, boom, boom, boom. They got in, stumping the mud, holding my ass. The two guys got what match it was. They were stumping the mud, holding my ass. In come this white guy with the damn hip-hop stuff on. Yo, yo, yo. It was John Cena. He slid in the ring, boom. We cleared the ring. We cleared the ring together, back to back. John Cena got the mic, and he went, yo, 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 yeah, yeah, you know. And the crowd was there. But then the crowd started chanting cat. So I reached for the mic, and he gave me the mic in my hand, and the crowd went crazy. Yeah, the crowd went crazy. I mean, they went crazy because I had the mic, and they knew I was about to say something. But then the referee came over and whispered in my ear. They said, give the mic back to John Cena. So I gave the mic back. I didn't even say it. I gave it back to John Cena. And then from that moment on, I was like, is it me? Or was it, what was the problem? As a dark man, why didn't they want me to say anything? And the crowd wanted me because that's what my gimmick was in WCW. But after that day right there, I had no more confidence. It just started breaking it, diminishing my confidence I had in doing the wrestling to after a while. I don't blame anybody else. It was just me. It was just something about me that was triggered that I just didn't feel good anymore. I didn't have the confidence to talk no more or to even go out. In WCW, man, it's like you could go out on the ledge and go out on your own and do what you do, and people loved it. That James Brown thing they didn't know it was going to get over. But I was able to say, let's do it, and I put my best into it. That commissioner stuff, the only reason they made me the commissioner because what I was doing in the back locker room with everybody, because we was a family. We were back in the locker room, and the whole NWO was back there. Scott Hall, Nash, Mr. Perfect, all these guys was in the locker room like they would do. All the bars, what they would do is they'll find one guy and pick on him. So it was my turn, and they were all on me. And I remember I was holding my own with all five of them, just talking to them. Boom, I was holding my own. And Terry Taylor came to me the next day and said, hey, Cat, I hear you was in the locker room. Here goes the mic. Do what you were doing in the locker room yesterday. I said, what you talking about? He said they were trying to get on you in the locker room, and they said, and Disco and the guy said, you held your own with all those guys talking, and having fun and just throwing trash around with each other. By confidence, it was a confidence builder. But when I got to WWE, it was a breaker. It was a break deal for me, and you can't blame nobody but me.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a rough time. I mean, to be fair, I've heard several accounts from people that were, slotted in your spot between, in the 2000s and WWE during that time. And it was just the Johnny Ace era. It was just a cutthroat time. I mean, it was one of those times where you could get heat for anything, and like you went to cut a promo in a dark match on a house show.
But you know what? I wasn't afraid of no damn heat. What the hell the heat gonna do? I was a millionaire, so they fired me. What? Wasn't nobody gonna kick my ass. Nobody in WWE or WCW was going to kick my ass. So I didn't worry about heat. If you got heat, so what? Go scratch your ass. Ain't nothing you can do to me. That's how I felt. And I wasn't a bully. I was actually kind of quiet. But I wasn't afraid of no heat. What I was afraid of is what they did. Once I figured that this is all on me, I don't know if I can live up to this. It kind of broke it did. It kind of broke me a little bit, to where I lost my confidence. And I would even say anything sometime on TV because, listen, I could do something in WCW, and soon I hit the back, somebody was coming up to me, say, hey, like Scott Hall, hey, Cat, say this a little slower next time, and it was good. What you said was good, but say it a little slow. You do something in WWE, nobody say anything because everybody afraid to say something because maybe they might get blamed for being a part of it. They may, being on my team or it was just everybody was afraid, of their job, a lot of people.
So it wasn't really like a collaborative environment because from what you're telling me, it's like you said everything was on you, and that's cool and all, but at the end of the day, wrestling and any kind of like production is a collaboration, right? I mean, you need a producer or an agent or somebody to coach, not necessarily coach you, but yeah.
When they released me from WCW, Vince McMahon word to me was, and JR, we can't write for you. That kind of, I can still hear ringing in my ears. Well, the writer said they can't write for you. Well, if the writers can't write for me, get rid of their asses and get people who can write for it. That's their job to write for you. How can that be an excuse to not enhance guys who are talented, who have already showed that they were talented? How can you tell them the only reason we're not using you or not going to use you, we can't write for you? Don't that sound like it take away from the professionalism of your company when your writers that you went out to search out, to hire, can't write for the talent?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it's sad, but I mean, it's funny because like your story is very similar to a lot of people's as far as like at the end of WWE. Like I mean, if people don't realize this, if they're not familiar with that era, like you had a lot of hype videos. They put a lot of money behind those vignettes and things like that, and like everyone's all excited for the cat. And within like literally a couple, honestly, it was like what 2 months like on TV on the main roster, and it's just like, and then you're gone like before WrestleMania. It made no sense, but that was par for the course for a lot of these acts. They'd get hot on them. They'd push them, and then like for I don't know, it was like a shiny new toy. Vince would find something else.
But you know what? Right then, when there's only one company you don't have time to waste. You know, Vince McMahon don't have time to waste on development. If it ain't what I want, get rid of. But you know what? I saw Batista came in. Batista was gassed up and juiced up, but he was terrible when it came to the mic. He was terrible. They were able to write for him. They came up with something for this dude, you know, because he was muscled up, you know. But hell, how can you be a bad man when you get your ass kicked by Booker T and his wife?
I don't know. I got nothing.
You didn't hear about it. You never heard about that.
Oh, no, I heard about it. No, Batista and Booker T, from what I understand, this was like 05, 06. They were filming a SummerSlam commercial. So they got into a scuffle, and Booker T got the better of it.
Get the better of it. For what I heard, they stumped a mud hole in his ass.
Wait, hang on. You're saying Sharmell also attacked him?
It was a handicap match in the locker
God.
room. There was 2 against 1.
Oh my God, I never heard that part. Okay.
Oh yeah, so shit. So that's what I'm saying. But you know, they can find something to write about this. See, you know what? Wrestling never scared me. I'm not afraid. I'm going to tell you a difference. And this is how wrestling is. When I did that great movie called The Wrestler, I was one of the top stars in there. If you read in the Hollywood Reporter, they said this guy right here stole the scene from a lot of Mickey Rourke stuff that we had to do together. Even the producer was saying, man, you're a talented guy, man. This is good, able to act and wrestle. So you stole a lot of scenes. As good as I was in that movie, in the character that I played, when it came time to kind of share or try to get a lift or get something from that, you know, the wrestler movie, they didn't even come to me. They went to an old-ass motherfucking actor, Mickey Rourke, and hired Mickey Rourke to come in to do something with the business that I was in.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
And Mickey Rourke, they wanted Mickey Rourke to come in and wrestle Jericho. Jericho in WrestleMania. Damn, why didn't they just bring Ernest Miller? They had a good match. He could have wrestled Ernest Miller at WrestleMania, or Ernest Miller could have been in the corner. It's so much you could have done with that. You know, but that's how wrestling is, and that's how it is to me. You know, I don't understand it, but when you got people in the business, Vince and I had a great relationship. Vince will open this door to me whenever I say, hey, Vince, can you talk? Yeah, come on and talk. I used to fly on this plane going to New York from the show, you know, and he always was like, anytime I did, a couple of times in Royal Rumble, I hit the ring, Dan threw me out. I came back. Everybody in there said, hey, Vince was laughing his butt off at you, man. He enjoyed you dearly enjoyed you hitting the ring like that and dancing and doing that. He popped live. Chris Canyon told me that. Said, Vince really popped for you when you went out there. When it came time for me to leave, Vince sit right there in front of me. I said, so Vince, what's the deal? I said, so JR just said that they're going to release me because they can't write for me. And Vince said, yeah, well, you could have been a little bit more like helping them develop. I said, no, listen, how you going to have to help somebody know somebody need help when they don't ask for it? And then Vince McMahon said, well, Cat, I want to keep you around because I really like you, and you're a good guy in the locker room, and you got a good personality. He said, I want to keep you around, but people going to say I'm showing favoritism towards you because they know I like you. And I really believe that Vince did like the person that I was. I don't know about the wrestling bit, but he did like the way because he was always, hey, Ernest, and hey, Cat, how you doing? His door was always open to me, for me. And that's, I enjoyed working with him for that. I really enjoyed that part, but it's the other part of the company. People were quiet. People didn't talk. People act like they was on eggshells, but that wasn't the big show. I think I was on SmackDown. So maybe Raw was a little different with the bigger stars.
Yeah, I also think they kind of, their business is kind of structured in a way where it's funny. A lot of the mistakes they've been making lately, at least creatively, are very comparative to like WCW at the end and TNA and TNA before they lost like Spike and everything. But the funny thing is, like, because they're so big and because they're such an institution and because they still do enough stuff right on top of like the business deals they have and everything else, it's like they're fine. Like they're like I think like they're the only company that can make some of the kind of mistakes they've made and still be successful because they're an institution and they're too big to fail.
But WCW was still around and WWE wasn't around. WCW could make the mistake that it made that it literally took itself out the game. It's when you don't have anything to compare or compete with. Right now, WWE, you can say WWE looked like WCW back in the day, but WWE doesn't have another WWE to compete with. So you get what the hell we want to give you, or don't come to our shows.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this from what I've seen, and I don't know how much you've been around the independents or like the conventions and stuff like that, but last couple of years, I feel like indie wrestling's been kind of booming, and obviously it's not WCW money back in the day, but it's like I feel like there's guys that are able to make a living outside of WWE now on a more consistent basis.
Let me tell you this: I wasn't even doing shows. Somebody talked me into doing a couple of shows, and the money is good. It's easy, and it's so funny that I did a show in North Carolina a couple of weeks ago when I wrestled. And some of the old guys like Shane Helms and these guys were back in the back, and I actually wrestled a match. And when I came back, Shane Helms like, Cat, I forgot you was entertaining, man. I forgot how athletic, how entertaining you was in the ring. Because, there's no sweat. There's nobody really trying to, you just get out there and have fun, man. And they pay you good out there. These young guys don't know where they get the money from, but you making some money out there on the indie circuit. And another thing, every indie guy out there looked like one of the WWE guys. Back in the day, WWE guys look different from the indie guys. They were bigger, stronger, louder. And now, everything look alike. The indie shows look like a WWE show.
Well, I mean, look where they got all their talent, right? I mean, most of their talent now came from, whether it's NXT or Raw or SmackDown, a lot of it came from Ring of Honor, or it came from New Japan Pro Wrestling, or it came from, making their name in the Indies and the UK and stuff like that. And they just kind of, I'm not saying they don't develop talent anymore. They develop talent, but a lot of their top stars, especially in NXT, are plucked from...
There's no developing talent anymore. They're not developing anything. They're taking what's already working out there and just putting it on TV. Nobody's stupid. People out there want to say they develop. Okay, who's on TV right? Who's on top right now?
Braun Strowman.
Yeah. How much development did it take to have a big guy like him come out and just be a big guy?
True. But, I mean, you look at some of the other big guys they've tried to push. I think it's like, yes
you
and
look
no.
at this. You look at the big guys that they did to talent, like Adam Baum. He was just as big as Braun, but he could bump his ass off. That's why they used it, because he was a big man who could bump. He was a big man who looked good. He was a big man that they developed, man. You know, even Bam Bam Bigelow and those big old giant guys, those were developed guys. Those wasn't guys who just looked big. Those were guys who can bump around, who can do everything.
You know what, though? I will say this. I do think that in recent years they've done a really good job from training women from scratch. And I do think, if you think about it, even though nobody thinks about him that way, Roman Reigns is just a WWE guy. He never wrestled indies or anything, and he became actually pretty good.
But you see how much it takes to get him over, what they had to do to get him over? Are you for real?
I'm talking about in the ring. I said in the ring he ended up becoming pretty good. Now, you make the argument how big a star he is, but in the ring he got pretty good.
But look at the push he got. Do you think everybody get up damn stuff down people's throat like that? Come on. How many people get a push like that?
True, but I mean, you can make the argument that's the same thing in any company, right? You're always going to have guys that, whether it be Bischoff or Russo or Vince McMahon or Dixie Carter, Jeff Jarrett, they're going to pick their guys and girls that they're going to push. And I mean, I'm not saying it's fair. I'm just,
I'm going to pick one for you. Goldberg. They pushed Goldberg to the moon. How many people going to get a push like that? But guess what? It didn't take Goldberg to get a long time to get over. Once he got out there, he was able to carry that rock. He was able to carry the ball. And that's all he had to do. These guys today, man, they got a bigger audience. They got social media. They got all kinds of stuff that you didn't have back in those days. And it still take them a little while and a little longer to get over.
Yeah, I think in some ways it's kind of in what you're touched on. It's kind of like the era of the mid-carder right now. There's nobody that's really more. There's nobody that feels larger than life right now. I mean, I think Roman Reigns got to a certain point. Strowman got to a certain point. But like you look at it, I mean, other than John Cena of the last 10, 15 years, and to a lesser extent Batista and Norton, at the time, like who have they really made like in this last decade that's really kind of been sustainable? I mean, Daniel Bryan kind of got himself over more than WWE getting behind him, CM Punk kind of the same thing. So, yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying in that sense. It's like, we talked about Roman Reigns. Like, Roman Reigns, when John Cena was getting over and you were working with John Cena, like, John Cena got to work with Benoit and Guerrero and Brock Lesnar and all these guys that helped get him ready. Whereas now, like, a guy like Roman Reigns or some other guy that's coming up, like, who do they have to – where's their Benoit and Guerrero that they have to get them up to that level?
Well, they're not using Benoit. They use people like Chris Jericho, who is just equally as good as Chris Benoit and those guys. Great worker. But it's not many of those guys around to make them look like that,
Yeah.
Aaron did some of the best matches when Triple H come out of retirement and put his boots on and get out there and show these young boys how it's done. That's what I used when it came to martial arts. When I went back to teaching karate, I used to tell people, oh, you know what? I used to do this. This right here will work. And I'm teaching these young guys. But this young generation don't want to hear what used to work. Show me. It's a show me time now. So guess what I had to do? I had to put my back on, go to a couple of tournaments, and not fight guys my age, but fight guys half my age, just to show people that, okay, now he got it. Next month in March, and next year in March, they inducted me into the Karate Hall of Fame in Atlantic City.
Wow, congrats, man.
But guess what? I've won more tournaments in the years, but they going by what I'm doing now.
Well, what's going on for you in 2019?
Well, you know what? I just signed a contract to develop my own karate show and karate fight show for a network, major network on TV. So I think I told you that last week. I'm in negotiating right now. I'm putting together the contracts, getting fighters, and just getting that off the ground, getting it ready for 2019.
Cool,
so
man.
I want to go to another level, and I want to use my unique set of skills from pro wrestling and karate to make this something people enjoy to watch, entertain people. But other than that, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and I'm always posting what's coming up next for the cat, you know. So look forward to hearing from my fans out there.
For sure. Well, hey man, it was a pleasure talking to you. You know, I appreciate you not taking my head off through the phone and everything. We appreciate all the info, the stories, the candor. If you want to know more about Ernest the Cat Miller, you can follow him on Twitter at @EarnTheCatMiller. We'll post all the social links, of course, on our podcast on YouTube. We'll spread it all out there. You see the information on your screen.
All right.
Thanks so much for the time, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Hey, Fred, thank you for having me, man. Talk to you later.